I'm ready, inshallah.
Inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we have, as usual, a good number of questions.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, we would start with the following. Why are scholars, especially those who are in school and colleges, they avoid discussions about Allah and His teachings and description of in their teachings and description of concepts? Are they successful in their efforts without mentioning Allah? So why is it that we often, or it's common to find that teachers in schools and colleges, maybe modern, avoid discussions about God? Is, what can we say about this?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Unfortunately, uh, in the West, after enlightenment, as they call it, little by little, religion, theology, faith are pushed into corner, and even sometimes people look at it negatively. If you are a professor, if you are a scientist who and talk about God, so this secularization has gone too far, and it is one great contribution that we can have to be first advanced in sciences and technology and teaching, etc., as faithful people, and secondly to make reference to God as faithful scientists and scholars and philosophers, I don't know, lawyers, etc. So this is very sad reality that you have noticed, and partly it has happened maybe without anyone planning it, but partly it's through planning of people who want to really eliminate any sign of faith, any sign of sacredness.
Thank you, Sheikhna. Last week you had mentioned that for us to, inshallah, remind about the translation of the dua that you mentioned in the beginning of the lectures.
Yes. This is a very beautiful dua which is recommended for a study. So whenever you want to study, or if you have a class, you can recite this beautiful dua. It has very deep meanings. Allahumma akhrijni min dhulumat al-wahm. Oh Allah, please take me out of darknesses of wahm. Wahm has different meanings, but perhaps here means illusion. So sometimes illusion creates darkness. You cannot see what is there. وَأَكْرَمْنِي بِنُورِ الْفَهْمِ, and honor me with the light of understanding. When the light of understanding comes, illusions, confusions go away. Allahumma aftah alayna abwaab rahmatik. O Allah, please open up to us the gates of your mercy. Because mercy of Allah does many things. One is help us with our understanding, and especially with discerning between what is right and wrong. In discussion about mercy, we have explained this point, what mercy does. And then وَانْشُرْ عَلَيْنَا خَزَائِنَ عُلُومِكَ. Please spread on us from the treasures of your knowledge. Very beautiful dua. So, Allahumma akhrajni min dhulumat al-wahm. The first two sentences are singular. Wa akrimni binur al-fahm. Allahumma aftah alayna abwaab rahmatik wanshur alayna khaza'in ulumik. Oh Allah, please take me out of darkness of illusion and honor me with the light of understanding. Please open up the gates of your mercy upon us and spread upon us from treasures of your knowledge. Inshallah.
Thank you very much. And if anybody would like the text, please do send to Ilm for Educators the text, and I'm sure they'll be able to send it to you, inshallah. It was typed in the transcript. We continue to the next question. If injustice is done to us, can we think we may have done injustice to ourselves, or should we get up and stand up for ourselves?
It depends. If injustice is done in a systematic way by people who deliberately, intentionally want to harm us and destroy us and deprive us, of course we have to find a wise way. It's very important, a wise way to deal with this. We cannot let it continue. We have to find a wise way to tackle this, to know what's your option, what legal, ethical means you have to establish different things. But if it's not a systematic, intentional attempt, a friend, a relative, a neighbor, a colleague, they may say things, do things that harm us, disturb us, upset us, but it's not deliberate. When you are honest, because sometimes as soon as someone does something, they mean it, they are doing this deliberately. No, the reality is that we ourselves also may say things, do things that upset other people. So you should not take all these things in a personal way, in a serious way, especially when it's with the mu'mineen, with family members, relatives, community members. You have to be very patient, and even don't pay attention to these things. One of the things that mystics advise is not to annoy and not to get annoyed. It's very important. Not to annoy, of course, is obvious. We should not annoy any person as much as possible, because when we annoy people, we make Allah displeased with us. Even a child, even my own child, I have to be very careful how to deal with them. But not only not to annoy, not to get annoyed, because if you get annoyed, you waste your energy, you let your energy be drained, your relation with other people. A person who is a spiritual, a person who has great aims to achieve, has lots of things as priorities, would not bother about small things. His or her expectations from people come very, very low, very minimal. He's more thinking about how to help them, how to be kind to them, instead of thinking how much they have been kind to me, how much they have respected me. But of course, as I said, if there is systematic disregard for your rights, that's another issue. There was a very spiritual person in Tehran, was a student of Ayatollah Ansari Hamadani and others. He used to say this very brief sentence in Farsi. مرنج و مرنجان. Maranj comes from ranj. Maybe in Urdu you know that concept of ranj. Ranj means pain, suffering. Ranjidan means to suffer. Maranj means not to cause pain to others. Don't annoy people. Maranj. Sorry. Maranj means not to get pain. Maranjan, not to give pain. Not to get annoyed and not to annoy. Very brief, very precise. This is a very important instruction. As much as possible, try not to break anyone's heart, not to be disrespectful to anyone, and not to get offended. People think offense comes from someone else, but the reality is that part of it also is you. You can take something as offense and you can say, no, this was not meant in a bad way. There is this poem attributed to Imam Ali alayhi salam. وَلَقَدْ أَمُرُّ عَلَى اللَّئِيمِ يَسُبُّنِي فَمَضَيْتُ ثَمَّةَ قُلْتُ لَا يَعْنِينِي. Sometimes I pass by a mean person who is doing sab of me, who is insulting me. فَمَضَيْتُ, I continue my journey and say he didn't mean me. Maybe he was talking about someone else. Although he's looking at me and talking about maybe me, but I try to ignore and say maybe he didn't mean me. And what does the Quran says? وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. So when they pass by something which is bad or unwise, they ignore and they go honorably away. And if bad people, ignorant people, jahilun, who act unwisely, address them, they say salamun alaykum, peace be with you. I don't have interest in fighting you or even in counter attacking you. No. So we have to be very much in control of our emotions, otherwise your positive or negative emotions will take your control and you become a captive of your emotions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Glad this question was asked, and thank you for the answer. Last time, Sheikh, you were talking about the names that were taught to Prophet Adam. What were the names taught to Prophet Adam alayhi salam?
Yeah, names of all the musammayat, all the facts, according to some hadith, all the things in this creation, everything was taught, and he knew what they are. So asma were names of the facts. So he knew the facts so that he knew the name. For example, if you ask me, what is this? And I say, it is a watch, it's a computer. If I just say the word, this is not knowing them. But if I say this is a watch, means that I know what it is. I know its function and its purpose. So he was taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he was Khalifatullah. How can Khalifatullah not know what the things that he is going to be responsible for? So Allah taught him all the facts and presented those things to the angels and said, you know, inform me, أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء إن كنتم صادقين.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does the Nabi or Imam have complete ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as they are ma'soom?
They have perfect knowledge of Allah in the sense that what they could know, what a human being can know. But still, it's not perfect as Allah knows of Himself. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ma arafnaka haqqa ma'rifatik." And some ulama say it doesn't mean haqqa ma'rifati iyak. No, they know haqqa ma'rifati iyak, but they don't know haqqa ma'rifatik in the sense that what Allah knows about Himself. So there is always a difference between what Allah knows about Himself and what they know about Allah. But they know as much as a human being can know.
In answering the question that had been asked last week, wherein Allah said, "It is not surprising that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to receive His mercy," giving the example of a teacher or a doctor. But if Allah wouldn't have created us, who would have questioned Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There would be no one to question. So what was the need for Him to create us in the first place?
Yes. He has not created us in order to give answer to us. If He's going to give answer to anyone, He has to give answer to Himself. Although He doesn't need to give answer because there's no questioning taking place. But if you want to put it that way, and this is why He says, كَتَبَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ الرَّحْمَةِ. He has made it compulsory for Himself to be merciful. So who is going to ask Him if He is not merciful? No one can question Him, but He Himself has put this, has undertaken this. It's His essential quality. So if there was any questioning to take place, it's He Himself questioning Himself.
Thank you.
No.
While explaining about Hazrat Musa and
Fir'aun, can we leave some questions for the end, because I think time is very limited.
Yes, Bismillah, inshallah.
Inshallah.